So turns out Russia's bombing themselves again, Kurt. I don't know if you know. Remember they bombed themselves with Nord Stream. Remember that? Remember when
Putin's
Russia?
a madman. That's
He's
what
a
I was
madman.
told. Also, that I didn't know that may have been the largest methane emission ever recorded. I didn't know that part.
So we did this. So the NATO forces, Ukraine, the CIA, the United States, the West, we did this. So it's the biggest methane emission ever recorded. So we're terrorizing. That would be called eco-terrorism.
I guess we got to all eat bugs now because of burgers. We got to make up the difference in not eating burgers now.
And so now, Kurt, they blew up this dam. Now, of course, we did it again. It's called an environmental catastrophe.
Yeah, right.
Collapse of Ukraine's Nova Kakhovka Dam, an ecological catastrophe.
I bet it is.
We did it.
Oh.
So the United States is doing these things.
What's your evidence, Jimmy?
In this stupid war to try to put an economic hurt on Russia that's backfiring fantastically. So U.S. eyes Russia, and this is how the United States press covered this. This is
They eye them? What does that mean?
It's the U.S. government has intelligence that is leaning towards Russia as the culprit behind. Is there anybody in the world that, besides that, everybody I know in comedy that believes that this Ukraine war shit? People still believe this stuff, Kurt? Do you think
this is even less reliable than the normal intelligence? That's normally like a vague thing, but. Yeah, well, a guy I know in intelligence is leaning on it's Russia. Like, wow, you have nothing. You have no information.
Why would Russia again? This is terrorism. This is like war crime. This isn't about. I'm going to show you what.
This is on Russian speakers, right? The Russian-speaking Ukrainians where this dam blew up, is it not?
This is in Russia-controlled territory. Russia built this dam. And a hydroelectric power plant in the early hours of June 6th. The dam across the Dnipro River, one of the country's major waterways, was all but gone in video and satellite footage that has emerged over the last 18 hours. The Kakhovka Reservoir has been emptying into the river all day, causing catastrophic flooding downstream. So they just wiped out towns. They just wiped it out. Who did? The West, the United States, the CIA, NATO, and Ukraine did this.
Well, you see their latest story is that the pipeline, it actually was Ukraine and America knew about it. That's where they finally settled.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They've been reporting all week. It just came out.
Oh, no kidding. So now they're admitting? Okay.
America did. I think America did it, not Ukraine. I don't think they could have done it. But now the official story they're saying is
Ukraine did it.
Ukraine did it, and the intelligence agencies knew they were going to do it.
Okay. Water from the reservoir, get this, is used by the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant to cool its reactors. So this is the kind of havoc that Joe Biden is unleashing on the world. You thought that they always said it was going to be madman Donald Trump to do crazy stuff like this and start World War III and blow up bombs and pipelines and ecological terrorism and destruction like we've never seen before.
The eco thing, especially, that was, I believe, Noam Chomsky was like the eco disaster.
That's right.
It's coming if you don't
vote for Biden.
Yeah.
And look what they're doing. Of course, Noam Chomsky was wrong again. You know, he has an encyclopedic knowledge of stuff, but that doesn't mean he's right or knows what to do about it or is right. Water from the reservoir is also just so there it is. According to the International Atomic Energy Agency, there is at present no immediate nuclear safety risk. So, like I heard that plant has like a backup of reserve water. That's what I heard. Upward of 40,000 people are now in danger due to flood. In danger? They got freaking flooded out. As many as 70 towns. 70 towns.
Oh, is Russia going to try to kidnap them now?
Along the Dnipro River are at risk. 70 towns. So that's who did that? Zelensky, Joe Biden. That's who did this. Ukrainian analysts have linked the alleged Russian dam destruction to the much anticipated Ukrainian counteroffensive, which may already be in progress. In the course of Kharkiv counteroffensive operation, the Russians destroyed the dam over Oskil Reservoir, this asswipe from Russia says. And so that's a government.
He's from the National Institute.
So yeah, for the strategic studies, a government-funded think tank told referring to the Ukrainian military's recapture of thousands of square miles of terrain in September. So there is precedent. So they're trying to say Russia did this. Although one reason might be to impede the Ukrainian offensive, the Russians also have established an historical pattern of destroying infrastructure in areas they do not control, such as Kiev, and areas they must leave behind when retreating, signaling that if they cannot control it, no one else will be allowed to possess it, said this asswipe from the fucking U.S. Army colonel strategist. In short, the Russians did this for spite. They did. They're just they're such assholes. They keep doing this. They're hurting themselves. Why? Because Putin is such an asswipe maniac. But why would he wouldn't do that to hurt himself? Because it hurts Russia more than it hurts Ukraine.
Are they so they said that territory, Russia lost that territory in that article, or am I not understanding that right?
No. Let me get to this point. So what they're saying here is that Russia's just nuts and doing this out of spite. Putin's a madman. That's what kind of crazy maniacs they are. They'll unleash this ecological disaster, this war crime that hurts them even more than Ukraine just because they don't care. Oh, really? Because I think this is what Tucker Carlson talks about. Because I don't think Putin, because a normal person, Kurt, wouldn't think that Putin would act like an irrational madman, but...
You're wrong, Mr. and Mrs. Cable News consumer. Vladimir Putin is exactly that sort of man, the sort of man who'd shoot himself to death in order to annoy you. We know this from the American media, which wasted no time this morning in accusing the Russians of sabotaging their own infrastructure. Bill Kristol, the man who once told us that Saddam Hussein was responsible for 9/11, immediately denounced Putin as a war criminal and even more savagely compared him to Donald Trump. The rest of the pundit class made similar, clearly coordinated noises. Putin did it! Putin did it! And their reasoning was simple. Putin is evil, and evil people do evil things purely for the dark joy of being evil. In this specific case, Putin attacked himself, which is the most evil thing you can do, and therefore perfectly in character for a man that evil. That was their explanation. You're right.
That's it. He attacked himself, Kurt, because that's the epitome of evilness, and he's that evil.
Yeah, I believe it.
Ukraine's Western partners wasted little. This is what people say. This is what I go to dinner with these asswipe comedians, and that's what they think because they read the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Boston Globe, and they think they're informed because they're reading the fucking.
These are. I don't understand how you can say, because this is what I've heard repeatedly. Putin can't be allowed to get away with invading a sovereign nation.
As we just built a military base in Syria next door.
These are the same people that have been alive for the last 20 years.
Right.
So wait, why is it bad to invade a sovereign nation? What does sovereign mean?
I thought we do that all the time. Isn't that what we do just out of hand? Like what we did in Libya, like what we did in Iraq, like what we did in Afghanistan for 20 years?
Jimmy. To bring up history is both-siderism.
Currently, we're doing it in Syria. We're occupying a third of that country. We just built a military base there. The destruction of the dam today puts thousands of civilians at risk and causes severe environmental damage, the NATO Secretary of General tweeted after this is an outrageous act, which demonstrates once again the brutality of Russia's war in Ukraine. We did this. So this outrageous act, this is what the United States and NATO and Zelensky has been doing all along. Turns out, Kurt, we're the assholes. We're the murderous maniacs. And this is all about money. This is all about an economic advantage over Russia. This isn't about us trying to save the Ukrainian people from aggression from Russia. This is about us doing this for corporations like we always do. You stupid assholes.